Have you ever felt like you're sort of just going through the motions, following a life script that maybe someone else wrote for you? Like there are invisible rules telling you what career to choose, what your relationships should look like, even what success actually means. Well, today, we're diving deep into a framework that's really designed to help you tear up that script and start writing your own extraordinary story. We're unpacking The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani. It's a genuinely transformative set of ideas, challenging pretty much everything we think we know about living a meaningful, intentional life. And joining me to help navigate this really fascinating discussion is the brilliant Professor Mo Imam. Welcome.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. This framework, it really does offer a profoundly compelling perspective on how our beliefs, many we don't even realize we have, actually shape our reality. And crucially, gives us actionable ways we can consciously re-engineer them for, profound personal growth. It's about getting off autopilot, really.
Exactly. Our mission today is to figure out how we can spot those limiting societal expectations, the subtle ones, and then consciously move beyond them, and ultimately carve out a life that feels genuinely authentic, one that really resonates with who we are at our core. So let's get into it. Let's start with this idea of the culturescape. To kick things off, Professor, let's talk about this world around us. So many of us seem to be operating under rules we didn't consciously pick or maybe even properly think about. What are these relative truths that society and culture kind of impose on us, and how do they get so deeply embedded?
Well, what's truly fascinating, I think, is how these norms, these societal and cultural expectations, what Lakhiani calls the culturescape, they become so incredibly ingrained, so much so that they actually feel like universal truths, don't they? They're not often taught explicitly as rules, are they? It's more that we absorb them through observation, through repetition, the subtle cues from family, school, media, right from when we're very young. And this culturescape, it dictates so much, everything from what counts as a good career, often pushing us towards safe jobs, perhaps like law or medicine, sometimes sidelining our real passions, to how we should dress, who we should partner with, even how we ought to handle our money. It sort of paints this picture, quite an alluring one actually, of a perfectly safe, predictable life. Seems devoid of major ups and downs. But paradoxically, it doesn't really teach us how to think critically for ourselves or how to live authentically within that structure it provides. Instead, it subtly passes on what Lakhiani calls these outdated beliefs. We just assume that what's imposed is right, that it's best for us.
For instance, that unspoken message that you have to climb this long, hard corporate ladder to be worthy, that often comes straight from the culturescape, doesn't it? Rather than from someone's genuine desire for that specific path.
And the framework illustrates this so well with Lakhiani's own story. Giving up photography for programming, getting that top job at Microsoft, only to have that moment where he realizes, hang on, this isn't actually the life I want. This epiphany moment where the external signs of success just don't match up with internal fulfillment. It seems incredibly common, doesn't it? What makes it so hard to break free, even after you've had that kind of realization?
Yes, it is a very common narrative. You hear it a lot. Many people find themselves in this continuous state of low-level dissatisfaction, just a nagging feeling something isn't quite right, until they have that moment of clarity, like Lakhiani did. His career looked great on paper, but it wasn't fulfilling him. The really unsettling thing, as the framework points out, is that most of us don't even recognize that the core beliefs running our lives aren't actually our own. They're ideas we've just unconsciously absorbed from our upbringing, from society. It's not necessarily malicious, of course. If you look at the bigger picture, someone like Sigmund Freud, his work suggested social norms exist partly to, manage our innate impulses to protect civilization.
Right, so there's a reason for them.
Exactly. There's a rationale, a societal function. They provide order, security, familiarity, which is comforting. Yet for us as individuals, this embeddedness means they become second nature. It creates this mental inertia, stopping us from really questioning our choices, stopping us from discovering our personal value, our unique strengths, or maybe a larger, more authentic purpose. And this raises a really crucial question for all of us, doesn't it? Are we perhaps sacrificing the chance for a truly beautiful, extraordinary life just for the perceived security of what we know, of the familiar, of what society tells us is correct? Are we maybe so afraid of leaving that well-worn path, that safe territory, that we miss out on profound growth and genuine deep satisfaction?
That's a powerful question, and a deeply uncomfortable one to really sit with. So, okay, if we manage to start peeling back those layers of this culturescape, we then run into what Lakhiani calls brules. What exactly are these brules, and why do people we might consider extraordinary seem so quick to question and challenge them?
Brules. It's a brilliant term, isn't it? It stands for bullshit rules, or, more politely, blindly accepted meaningless rules. They're those often absurd, illogical guidelines that have absolutely no real bearing on our dreams, our ambitions, or our happiness, yet we follow them.
We
Rigorous.
just do them because, well, because everyone does.
Pretty much. We follow them because they've been passed down, ingrained in us, accepted as universal truths you just don't question. Think about some deeply held yet often unfounded beliefs, like the idea that success absolutely hinges on getting a university degree, or that you must follow a very specific career path, or even subtler things like you shouldn't talk about money, or that burnout is just a necessary part of achieving anything worthwhile. Extraordinary individuals, they seem to operate differently, don't they? They have a different cognitive approach. They don't just blindly accept these things. They think critically. They seem able to dispassionately select only the rules that genuinely serve their unique path toward a full, happy, impactful life. And often by doing that, they make things better not just for themselves, but they challenge the status quo for others too. They understand most rules are just suggestions, really. Suggestions that might have been useful once, but now just act as constraints.
And the prime example you mentioned, Steve Jobs, really hammers that home. He famously questioned the rule about needing a university degree for success, dropped out of college, and then completely revolutionized multiple industries. It really is like many of us are trying to run our lives on, I don't know, incredibly outdated software, isn't it?
Precisely. That analogy is spot on. You wouldn't run, say, Windows 95 on your computer today and expect it to work efficiently or securely, would you? In the same way, we really must learn to uninstall these rules that no longer serve our happiness, our growth, or our authentic purpose. But the challenge isn't just spotting them. It's the often difficult process of installing new, empowering rules in our minds. Rules that genuinely satisfy us and expand our potential rather than limit it. The actual quality of your life, ultimately, it depends on the rules you consciously create for yourself, not the ones blindly accepted by everyone else or inherited from the past. Now, this can be challenging. People around you still operating within that old culturescape, they might criticize you. They might think you're being odd or rebellious, maybe even threatening.
Right, because you're rocking the boat.
Exactly. But it's precisely this willingness to adapt, to evolve your personal operating system, that marks the real beginning of personal empowerment. It demands a readiness for change, a willingness to always be prepared to adapt and evolve, not just for yourself, but maybe inspiring others who see your transformation.
That's a fantastic way to think about it, uninstalling those old beliefs.
Hmm.
So let's talk about that process of change. It sounds like a huge part of this framework rests on our ability to update our internal operating system, as you said. How do we even begin that? This profound process Lakhiani calls consciousness engineering.
Well, what's truly fascinating here is the sheer power our beliefs hold, the transformative power. There's extensive research now across fields like psychology and neuroplasticity. It consistently shows our beliefs don't just reflect reality, they can literally mold it, shape it.
Really? Can you give an example?
Sure. There was a landmark study, a long one, by Yale University and the National Institute on Aging. It found that middle-aged people who held positive views about aging, positive self-perceptions, tended to live, on average, 7.6 years longer than those with negative views.
Wow, 7.6 years. That's significant.
It's a profound difference, isn't it? Similarly, think about optimists. Their beliefs lean towards positive outcomes, and they are demonstrably more likely to get the jobs they want. Why? Often because they proactively seize opportunities, they engage more confidently in interviews, they persist longer. So it's about updating both our internal hardware, that's our basic model of reality, how we see the world, and our software, our daily systems, our actions. For example, if your internal hardware, your core belief, genuinely says that causing suffering to conscious beings is wrong, then your software, your daily actions, should naturally lead you towards something like veganism. It's about aligning belief with consistent action. And the deep alignment between what you believe and how you act, that's really the essence of effective consciousness engineering. It highlights how our personal growth is intrinsically tied to our ability to meticulously update these deep internal systems.
Okay, so following that logic, if we have misaligned or maybe just unproductive ideas, they can lead to unproductive actions. Or maybe even just inaction. Lakhiani suggests a practical and actually surprisingly simple way to assess where these misalignments might be, the 12 areas of balance, right? Could you maybe walk us through some of those areas and how that assessment works?
Absolutely. He suggests a holistic check-in across 12 key areas of life. Because, well, true well-being isn't just one thing, is it? It's multifaceted. So these areas include things like Your love life, your friendships, your sense of adventure, your living environment, your physical health and fitness, also your intellectual life, your skills and abilities, your spiritual side, your career or mission, your creative expression, your family relationships, and how you engage with your community. The exercise itself is quite straightforward. You rate your satisfaction in each area, say, on a scale of 1 to 10.
Just a simple rating.
Yes, but the real power isn't just in the number. It's in the reflection it prompts. It's about identifying where you feel a genuine need to grow. Not based on what others think you should do, but from an internal desire for improvement within yourself. So this internal evaluation, it's not just a snapshot in time, it's really a diagnostic tool for your own personal growth. And it immediately gives you an actionable plan. You see clearly which areas need your attention right now. It represents quite a profound shift, actually, moving away from seeking external validation or following preset paths, towards an internal, self-guided assessment of your own unique needs and aspirations.
That definitely provides a clear roadmap, a personal diagnostic, as you say. But okay, once we have that map, once we've spotted the areas for growth, how do we actually improve them? This brings us to Lakhiani's really crucial idea of rewriting your models of reality. What's the starting point for that? Where do we begin?
The fundamental step, and maybe the most empowering one, is cultivating profound self-love. Now, this isn't about superficial vanity. It's about adopting a deep-seated internal attitude, a core belief system that inherently supports achieving your highest goals, one that truly transforms you into, well, an extraordinary person from the inside out.
Yeah. Oh.
Lakhiani shares a very powerful personal story about this. He completely changed his self-perception. He saw himself as an awkward kid with acne and big glasses until someone quite simply told him he looked sexy. And that single comment, because he internalized it, he accepted it. It triggered a profound shift in his internal software. It rewrote his basic model of reality about himself. And consequently, this internal change, his hardware, started to show up in his external presence, his interactions.
Wow. Just from one comment.
It shows how powerful external input can be when it resonates internally. It demonstrates that while old, ingrained models of ourselves are often incredibly hard to shake off, we drag them along from childhood, don't we? The extraordinary mind is constantly evaluating these beliefs, and it courageously discards the ones that are no longer useful or no longer true to who they're becoming. It's about consciously choosing to adopt empowering narratives about yourself.
That's a wonderful, very relatable story. And then there's the other compelling example, Louise Hay, the writer and speaker, and her difficult landlord. That really highlights how our anticipation, our inner state, can actually shape what happens externally, doesn't it? That whole perception becomes reality idea.
It truly does. It's a masterclass in applied consciousness engineering, that story. Louise Hay was in a tricky situation. She needed to sell her things, move out, and she had this ingrained belief her landlord was difficult, unsympathetic.
Right, she's expecting trouble.
Exactly. But instead of dwelling on that negative expectation, she consciously chose to focus on simple, positive mantras, ease, harmony. She affirmed again and again that everything would sell easily, that her interaction with the landlord would be positive, collaborative. And the result was astonishing. Not only did he say he was sorry she was leaving, but he then offered to buy her furniture so he could rent the flat out as furnished. Yes. And he even gave her a glowing reference for her next place. It just powerfully illustrates how our inner state, our deep expectations, can literally influence external events. Our anticipation, our perception, effectively becomes our tangible reality in many ways. And beyond just self-love, Lakhiani really stresses the importance of gratitude, not as a fleeting feeling, but as a consistent practice. Taking time each night to give thanks for what you have or what you're proud of. He also presents 4 potent new models for rewriting reality. First, trusting our intuition, which we often dismiss. Second, embracing spirituality, perhaps without organized religion, fostering connection and purpose. Third, redefining productivity, not just as output, but as the deep happiness we get from our work. And finally, recognizing the power we have to heal our own bodies and minds, moving beyond just a medical model, applying these 4 powerful models individually or together to those 12 areas of balance we talked about. That can profoundly rebalance our lives. It provides countless opportunities to improve the areas we've identified for growth.
This leads us really nicely into upgrading your systems of living. Because for so many of us, our daily routines can feel like a bit of a trap, can't they? Almost like they're rooted in these old-fashioned activities that don't really serve us or our bigger goals anymore. How do we practically optimize these daily rhythms, these practices, to support this extraordinary journey we're talking about?
You've hit on a really critical point there. Many of our routines are indeed old-fashioned activities, habits we grew up with or just adopted without thinking, and they simply become outdated. Frankly, they often prevent us from living a truly meaningful, impactful life. So, to optimize our life systems effectively, we first have to critically identify which areas are suffering because of these old routines. This needs some honest reflection, using the insights from the principles we've already discussed, deciding where we're underperforming or which parts of life need immediate attention. Lakhiani gives a very tangible example with his own health. He set a clear, measurable baseline, being able to do 50 push-ups.
Okay, specific.
Very specific. If he couldn't hit that baseline, he knew immediately he needed to adjust something. His diet, his exercise, his sleep. It's not about being rigid, it's about having feedback loops. Systems, in this context, are basically like applications or intentional frameworks designed to help us achieve specific goals. And they require a dynamic three-step process. First, discover the area needing optimization. Second, refresh your system often. Draw power and insights from all parts of your life, keep it agile, responsive. And finally, measure how efficient and effective your system actually is. Is it moving you towards your goal? This continuous adaptation and refinement is absolutely crucial for sustained growth.
So establish the baseline, like the push-ups, then keep tweaking, iterating, checking progress. My immediate thought, though, Professor, is that this sounds quite structured, almost counterintuitive to creativity. We often think of creativity as spontaneous, breaking free from structure, don't we?
That's a profound point and a very common concern. It raises that important question: do systems actually inhibit creativity? Interestingly, the renowned choreographer Twyla Tharp, in her fantastic book The Creative Habit, argues the exact opposite. She contends, quite compellingly, using her own career and observations of other creative geniuses, that systems and routines are as important as, maybe even more important than, those fleeting flashes of inspiration.
All right, more important.
That's her argument. Tharp passionately believes that discipline and structured habits are what fundamentally separate extraordinary creative output from the ordinary. So far from inhibiting creativity, well-designed, effective systems actually maximize our daily actions and our creative potential. They help us build the necessary discipline to consistently show up, do the work, and systematically move towards our goals. Think of a master painter. They likely have a disciplined routine for preparing the canvas, mixing colors, setting up the studio. That discipline isn't stifling. It actually frees their mind to fully engage with the artistic vision itself.
Ah, okay, I see. It creates the space for creativity.
Exactly. It's about taking proactive control of every important aspect of your life by continually updating your internal systems, making sure they stay relevant, powerful, and deeply aligned with your individual journey towards an extraordinary life. And with an updated dynamic life system in place, you can then firmly, consistently continue to recode your mental attitude.
Excellent point. Okay, so we've talked about transforming our inner world, our beliefs, and our daily systems. Now let's explore how this profound internal shift actually translates into a better, genuinely happier life. This brings us to Lakhiani's concept of bending reality. What does this powerful idea really mean?
Well, Lakhiani's own experience building his company, Mind Valley, is a powerful illustration here. In the early days, he was relentlessly pursuing perfection, hitting aggressive goals at all costs. He believed sheer effort would stop things going wrong. But despite the external success, internally felt constantly insufficient, stressed, deeply unsuccessful.
Even though the company was growing.
Yes, the pivotal shift came with an epiphany. He realized life isn't just about the future goal, it's about the here and now. It was about focusing on genuine happiness, finding deep fascination in what he was doing right now in the present moment, allowing things to flow more organically rather than forcing them. And when he consciously made happiness his primary driver, allowed it to permeate his work, paradoxically, his company started to thrive even more, achieved remarkable success. So bending reality is fundamentally about finding that dynamic balance between cultivating profound current happiness and holding a clear, inspiring future vision. It's about redefining success entirely on our terms, unapologetically ignoring or moving beyond those expectations imposed by others. And this isn't some fleeting holiday-feeling happiness. It's a general, consistent, deeply satisfying state of well-being. And it's that state that unleashes our full potential and allows our actions to have a much greater impact on the world. Maintaining that inner motivation, that intrinsic drive, is truly fundamental. It's the key to genuine, sustainable success, even if others might just put it down to luck.
So happiness isn't just a nice side effect of achievement, it's actually a potent driver of achievement itself. The dancer anecdote in the framework really brings this to life, doesn't it? Showing how a relaxed, unburdened mind can generate truly incredible ideas. Could you share that?
Absolutely. It illustrates the point beautifully. When your mind is relaxed, free from that constant stressful chatter, it thinks more freely, more laterally, more innovatively. And this leads directly to producing more ideas and, crucially, better ideas, which in turn naturally propel you towards your most important goals. So imagine this woman. Her deepest passion is dancing. She works as a dance teacher, lots of energetic kids, over 20 of them. Rewarding, yes, but undeniably stressful.
I can imagine.
To counteract this, she deliberately carves out studio time just for her own pleasure, for free-flowing, uninhibited movement, no pressure of teaching or performing. In this state of total freedom, intrinsic satisfaction, her relaxation deepens. And it's precisely in this unburdened state that she gets this profound, innovative idea. The power of movement can heal, not just her, but others. By fostering self-expression, emotional release, with this new clarity, she starts thinking about concrete options, maybe teaching therapeutic movement to adults, creating a video series on self-expression through dance. That kind of clarity, insight, innovation is far less likely to emerge when you're constantly overwhelmed by daily stress, isn't it?
Absolutely. Your brain just doesn't have the space.
Exactly. Bending reality at its core is about meticulously balancing your life to allow deep, consistent happiness to surround you, because that very state of well-being makes your mind more relaxed, more receptive, and far more fertile for groundbreaking ideas.
That makes perfect sense. And one key, very practical technique for actively balancing our lives and cultivating this relaxed, creative state is what Lakhiani calls blisscipline. That sounds like such a wonderful and empowering concept. How exactly do we practice it?
Blisscipline. It's a powerful blend, really. It encompasses two crucial, scientifically backed practices: gratitude and forgiveness. From a scientific viewpoint, practicing gratitude has been shown repeatedly to significantly reduce depression symptoms, lower stress, and demonstrably boost positive energy and overall well-being. The business strategist Dan Sullivan offers a particularly useful angle on gratitude. He suggests we often make the mistake of constantly chasing future ideals of happiness, believing true contentment is just over the horizon after the next goal, which often leaves us feeling a bit empty now.
Right, always chasing the next thing.
Exactly. Instead, Sullivan suggests consciously looking back, acknowledging and being genuinely grateful for what we've already been granted, the progress made, the blessings we already have. This creates an immediate awareness of existing happiness, pulling it right into the present moment. Lakhiani suggests a practical approach. Identify maybe 3 to 5 specific things in your personal and work life you're truly grateful for, and crucially, make a conscious effort to share that gratitude with others. Sharing really amplifies the feeling. This active approach profoundly shifts our focus. It stops us perpetually mistaking future goals for the happiness we crave, and helps us realize the immense happiness already present in our lives right now.
And then there's forgiveness. That can be incredibly challenging, often quite painful for people, but it sounds like it's a real cornerstone of this inner peace you're describing.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And it's a profound act of self-liberation, really.
Oh.
Lakhiani's method for forgiveness is quite structured. It guides you through a healing process. First, you list those individuals you feel have harmed you. Then, choose one person or situation, and consciously recall the negative feelings you experienced when they hurt you. Allow those emotions to surface. Acknowledge them. Don't suppress them.
Okay, feel the feelings.
Yes. Then the next vital step is to explore, as objectively as you can, the possible motives behind their actions. This isn't about excusing the harm, but seeking understanding. The critical transformative step then involves cultivating compassion for that person. Now, this might feel counterintuitive at first, but it's about recognizing what you learned from the situation, how it maybe shaped you, perhaps made you stronger or better in unexpected ways. Imagining their own potential struggles, their own pain, or how their actions might have inadvertently hurt them. That can profoundly help grow compassion. This leads to genuine forgiveness and a gradual but deep reduction in negative feelings towards them. This process, well, it can certainly take time and a lot of inner work, but it systematically heals those internal wounds, and it leads to a state where you're far less affected by external negativity or past hurts. When we reach that point, being able to genuinely forgive, eradicate that internal pain, we become less susceptible to external negativity, and then it sort of becomes our privilege, our responsibility maybe, to offer some of that hard-won peace back to the world. Lakhiani expands on this, suggesting there are ultimately 3 types of happiness we can experience. Happiness from human experiences, like winning a game, closing a deal. Happiness from personal growth, higher consciousness, often spiritual or self-actualization. and happiness from having a positive, expansive vision for the future. These three types powerfully summarize the journey of someone who practices profound gratitude and deep forgiveness, effectively turning negative experiences into valuable lessons and consciously focusing their energy on positive actions and contributing to the happiness of others.
So once we've reached this incredible level of inner peace built through consistent gratitude and profound forgiveness, how does that liberation, that clarity, translate into actually shaping our future? This brings us to Lakhiani's guidance on creating a vision for the future.
Yes, this is where we pivot from healing the past to actively, powerfully designing the future. And it's crucial, Lakhiani argues, to differentiate very clearly between what he calls mean goals and end goals. Because our genuine happiness should never be confused with objectives just imposed by society or external pressures.
Okay, mean goals versus end goals. What's the difference?
Mean goals are those societally imposed objectives. Maybe getting a specific job title, a certain degree, owning a particular type of house or car. These are often taught, induced, reinforced by that culture skip we talked about. And they don't inherently bring lasting happiness. Often they feel more like commitments, obligations. End goals, however. These are the experiences and states of being that truly satisfy us at a deep, soulful level. Things like traveling the world, dedicating time to a cherished hobby, doing things that genuinely make you happy, pursuing deep passions, or maybe witnessing your child succeed at something important to them.
Things that come from the heart.
Exactly. They come authentically from the heart and are pursued with profound joy, precisely because they are experiences we truly want to live, for their own sake. These transformative end goals typically fall into three interconnected categories. 1, the experiences we authentically want to have. 2, the personal growth we deeply desire for ourselves. And 3, the contributions we wish to make to others and the wider world, having first fulfilled our own life expectations.
So it's really about asking ourselves those fundamental, deep questions, isn't it? What experiences do I truly want? How do I want to genuinely grow as a person? And having fulfilled my own purpose, how do I want to contribute to the world in a way that feels meaningful and impactful to me?
Precisely. And these questions align perfectly with those 12 areas of balance we discussed earlier. It creates this powerful synergy. They allow us to find our own authentic answers and set goals that genuinely satisfy our personal needs and aspirations as unique individuals, rather than just chasing external validation. Extraordinary minds don't outsource their future vision. They create one that is entirely independent of societal expectations, one that's deeply focused on personal evolution, profound growth, and an abiding sense of happiness. This bespoke vision becomes their plan for the soul, as Lakhiani puts it, an inspiring, deeply personal life blueprint that is unequivocally authentic to them. And this radical independence from external expectations, that is, in essence, the very core of Lakhiani's next principle. It leads us towards being truly unshakable.
Okay, we're almost at the summit of this incredible deep dive now. If we've worked hard to cultivate this internal peace, clarified our vision, built systems to support it, what's the ultimate outcome? Lakhiani introduces a very powerful concept here, the idea of being, well, unfuckwithable. What does that actually mean? And how does one achieve such a state?
Unfuckwittable. Yes, it's a strong term, isn't it? But it describes a state of profound inner resilience and self-mastery. It begins with an unshakable sense of deep self-value and an intrinsic motivation that comes purely from within you. Your drive, your purpose, your happiness, they're internal. So you eliminate any real need for external validation, approval, or even acknowledgement. And this shows up tangibly in how you set goals. You focus on what he calls self-feeding goals.
Self-feeding goals.
Yes, objectives that depend solely on your own actions and efforts. This makes you fundamentally independent of others' cooperation or reactions. For instance, being a more patient parent, that's a self-feeding goal. It's entirely within your control. Compare that to getting closer to my children. While it's a lovely desire, it inherently involves their cooperation, their willingness, so it's less controllable and could lead to frustration if things don't align externally. When you are genuinely at peace with yourself, when your inner foundation is solid, nothing external can truly bother you. Negativity just can't penetrate your core. That's the first crucial component. Being fundamentally disinterested in the limiting, often critical rules imposed by society.
So it's about taking that radical responsibility for your own happiness and actions, completely regardless of how others react or what they think. Like, if someone forgets your birthday, you simply don't let it ruin your day or make you question your worth.
Precisely. Why waste precious time and emotional energy feeling down because someone didn't remember your birthday? An unfuckwithable mind would simply acknowledge it, maybe find a bit of humor in it, and then pivot straight back to focusing on what is truly important and meaningful to you. After all, you can't control others' actions, reactions, or memories. You can only control your own response. Similarly, an extraordinary mind just doesn't need anyone's validation for its actions, opinions, or choices. Someone who's cultivated this brilliant, unshakable mindset is profoundly at peace with themselves, entirely free from the fear of what others might say or think. They live immune to criticism and impervious to flattery because their happiness, their core identity, is built on deep self-love and self-directed actions that constantly nourish that inner well-being.
Like those public figures you mentioned.
Exactly. Think of actors, politicians. They face constant, often brutal, scrutiny. Their perceived mistakes get magnified endlessly. Yet many remain remarkably unfazed. Why? Because they possess intact self-esteem. They fundamentally understand that public perception is often a distorted mirror, not their true reality. And navigating that scrutiny is just part of their chosen path. They're at peace with who they are, drawing immense strength from within, staying laser-focused on their own intrinsic goals. It's about knowing your unique inner worth, unequivocally, not seeking external judgment or acceptance to define it. When feeling anxious or fearful, such a mind doesn't spiral outwards into blaming others or complaining. Instead, it focuses inward, tunes into what it authentically feels and wants, returns to its own profound thoughts and self-set goals. It's about looking in the mirror and remembering the inherent value of the person looking back. Understand that your authentic internal self is infinitely more important and influential than anything external.
That leads so beautifully into the final, really profound law of this framework, live the quest. This feels like it's not just about achieving personal goals, is it? It feels much bigger than that.
You're absolutely right. It is a concept far grander, more expansive than simply having personal goals, especially goals that might feel a bit foreign or disconnected from our deepest ideals. For truly successful, bright minds, living the quest is about discovering their ultimate calling, their unique overarching quest in life. This isn't a task to be ticked off a list. It's a way of being. It involves loving what you do so profoundly that it fuels this innate striving to contribute something significant, something positive to the world. The universe, in a profound way, is indifferent to who improves it. It simply waits patiently for positive impact. For an individual to step up and make that difference, this means cultivating profound self-reliance first, embarking on the journey of revolutionizing your own world, painstakingly discovering what you truly want, what truly fulfills you, and then through that powerfully transformed state, your elevated consciousness, your optimized systems, your unshakable peace, you start to naturally, effortlessly, profoundly impact those around you. When you truly understand your quest, when it becomes your guiding star, the universe itself seems to align. Opportunities will seemingly just materialize before you, guiding you, step by step, towards a life of profound meaning, impact, and deep, authentic fulfillment.
And the ultimate takeaway really is discovering that quest, embracing it fully, and holding on to it with all your strength, letting it guide every decision. Wow, what a truly incredible deep dive we've had today, really unpacking so much. From meticulously transcending that pervasive culturescape to courageously living our quest, Vishen Lakhiani's remarkable framework truly offers a path to living a life that is far, far less ordinary, a life that's deliberately crafted rather than just passively accepted. It's about fearlessly discarding those outdated ideas, isn't it? Wholeheartedly embracing personal greatness, maybe a deeper spiritual connection, and passionately pursuing goals that bring genuine, soul-satisfying meaning.
Indeed. The key transformative actions we've really explored today boil down to a few core things. First, diligently identifying and eliminating those subtle, often limiting influences of society and old beliefs that just don't serve you anymore. Second, consciously optimizing your internal software, your beliefs, your models of reality, and your hardware, your daily life systems, making sure they precisely align with the extraordinary life you choose to live. And perhaps most importantly, cultivating profound gratitude, radical forgiveness, and that deep, unshakable sense of self-love. It's not just about intellectually understanding these concepts, is it? It's about internalizing them so deeply they naturally convert into consistent, empowering daily habits.
So what does all of this mean for you listening right now? Maybe consider this. What one bullshit rule are you going to consciously question and maybe start to dismantle this week to truly start or perhaps accelerate your own extraordinary journey? If this deep dive resonated with you today, please do consider sharing it with a colleague or a friend who you think might benefit. And we'd be incredibly grateful if you could leave us a quick rating wherever you listen. It genuinely helps us reach more curious minds just like yours. Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.